I'm feeling villainous. Why I feel so villainous I could sing. Oh, there's something so delightful when a villain takes the stage, chewing up the scenery with charisma. Heroes get their anthems, but let's be real, nobody steals the spotlight quite like a villain. And some of the greatest songs belong to the bad guys. Why I thought this was a good idea. That's right, today I'm counting down my top 10 Disney villain songs. The rules are simple, the song must be sung by the villains themselves, so no songs like Cruella de Vil won't be included. And the song must come from a movie distributed by Disney Animation Studios. With one exception. Without further ado, let's get going. I do it all because I'm evil. Prince Ali Reprise is a delightfully devious little villain song. Despite barely lasting a minute, it leaves a surprisingly strong impression. This is the moment where Jafar stops being a regular brooding mastermind and fully embraces his gleefully unhinged side, and is an absolute blast to watch. The song cleverly twists the triumphant Prince Ali theme on his head, turning what was once Aladdin's grand introduction into a ruthless public humiliation. Jafar uses the melody to strip away the Prince Ali facade and expose Aladdin for who he really is, making the reprise feel both mocking and menacing. The only thing holding it back from ranking higher is its length. At just around a minute long, it doesn't have the time to reach the heights of some of the songs above it. Even so, it's an incredibly memorable villain moment, capped off by Jafar's wonderfully unhinged laughter at the end. I do it all because I'm evil. I Wanna Be Like You is just pure fun from beginning to end. It's one of the most laid-back villain songs Disney has ever produced, and that relaxed, jazzy energy makes it endlessly enjoyable. King Louie is such a charismatic presence that it's hard not to get swept up in the song's infectious rhythm and playful atmosphere. What makes the song especially entertaining is Louie's motivation. He wants to be like Mowgli because he wants the secret to make fire, a goal that's both oddly specific and hilariously vague. What exactly is he planning to do once he gets it? Who cares? The song is so catchy and charming that you're happy to go along for the ride. I don't find myself listening to this one as often as some of the higher entries, but whenever it comes on, it's impossible not to vibe with it. I also love the chemistry between Bulu and King Louie during the performance. Unfortunately, that potential friendship comes crashing down the second Bulu's disguise is exposed. A tragic end to what could have been a beautiful bromance. I do it all because I'm evil. Much like the film it comes from, the world's greatest criminal mind is criminally underrated. This song serves as one giant celebration of Ratigan's brilliance, ego, and villainy, and is an absolute delight to watch unfold. The real star of the number is Vincent Price, who delivers every line with theatrical flair. Ratigan isn't just confident, he's completely convinced of his own superiority, and Price's performance sells every ounce of that arrogance. The song perfectly captures what makes Ratigan such a memorable villain. He's intelligent, he's charismatic, and so extravagantly over the top that you can't help but be entertained by him. Of course, no discussion of this song will be complete without mentioning the moment it's briefly interrupted when Ratigan feeds one of his own henchmen to a cat, simply because the unfortunate mouse called him what he actually is, a rat. It's a shockingly dark moment, but it's also a perfect demonstration of Ratigan's nature. One second he's basking in his own greatness, and the next he's reminding everyone exactly why they're terrified of him. The result is a song that's equal parts fun and unsettling, a showcase of Ratigan's genius, theatricality, and underlying cruelty. Also, how come we never talk about how casually his henchmen mention that he's drowned orphans and widows? I do it all because I'm evil. Part of me wishes I could rank Friends on the Other Side even higher. It's one of the most unique villain songs Disney has ever produced, and a lot of that credit goes to Randy Newman's distinctive songwriting. Unlike most Disney villain numbers, this one feels less like a traditional musical performance and more like an elaborate supernatural con job. And that's exactly what makes it so memorable. Of course, the song wouldn't be nearly as effective without Keith David's phenomenal performance as Dr. Facilier. His smooth, commanding vocals ooze charisma, making Facilier impossible to look away from. Add in his effortlessly cool dance moves, and you got one of the most stylish Disney villains stealing every second he's on screen. I love how the song begins. The opening is smooth, subdued, and quietly sinister, with Facilier playing off his shadow and manipulating his guests with the confidence of a seasoned showman. Then, as the song progresses, it gradually spirals into something far more chaotic and otherworldly. The finale is easily the highlight for me, thanks to its incredible voodoo imagery, vibrant colors, eerie instrumentation that makes it feel like reality itself is being warped around Facilier. The only thing keeping it out of my top 5 is the middle section. There are definitely some great moments throughout, but that portion drags just a little compared to the fantastic opening and spectacular ending. Even so, Friends on the Other Side remains an unforgettable villain song, packed with style, personality, and some truly incredible vocals. I do it all because I'm evil. Okay, this is where I'm bending my rules a little bit. Yes, The Nightmare Before Christmas isn't a Disney Animation Studios film, but this is my list, which means I could break my rules whenever I want. I mean, how could I leave Oogie Boogie's song off the list? It's a song where the villain gleefully sings about torturing and planning to kill Santa Claus. A huge part of the song's appeal is its visual style. The bright neon lights and casino-inspired atmosphere of Oogie's Lair creates a fantastic contrast with the gothic Halloween aesthetic that dominates the rest of the movie. Everything about the sequence feels larger than life, like you stumble into some twisted underworld nightclub run by a gambling-addicted monster. Oogie Boogie himself is the perfect combination of menacing and entertaining. He's threatening enough to feel dangerous, but he's also having so much fun that you can't help but enjoy every second he's on screen. I don't know why, but I love the little voice cracks in his performance. The vocals are fantastic, the visuals are unforgettable, and the entire number has an infectious energy that's impossible to resist. It's bonkers, catchy, sinister, and stylish all at once. I do it all because I'm evil. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston. Only at number 5. What makes Gaston so great is that it doesn't feel like a traditional villain song at all. Instead of the villains singing about their evil plans or ambitions, this is essentially an entire town coming together to celebrate just how amazing they think Gaston is. And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. The song does a brilliant job of establishing Gaston's character. On the surface, it's a hilarious and energetic comedy number filled with exaggerated praise and memorable one-liners. At the same time, there's something surprisingly unsettling about it. Unlike many Disney villains, Gaston doesn't rely on magic, supernatural powers, or elaborate schemes to get what he wants. His greatest weapon is his popularity. The song subtly establishes just how much influence he has over the community, which becomes increasingly important as the story progresses. That's why Gaston stands out among Disney villain songs. It's goofy, bombastic fun on the surface, but beneath all the laughter and tavern antics are some genuinely sinister implications. The entire town is cheering for the villain, and that's a lot more concerning than it first appears. I do it all because I'm evil. Shiny might be the most insane song on the entire list. The song starts out as a goofy, flamboyant showstopper led by a giant, narcissistic crab obsessed with collecting shining objects. Everything about the setup screams comedy. Tamatoa struts around, cracks jokes, and delivers some of the most ridiculously entertaining lines in any Disney villain song. On paper, this should be one of the silliest entries here. And then the second part of the song kicks in. What begins as a lighthearted musical number gradually transforms into something far more intense. The music grows darker, the stakes become real, and suddenly Tamatoa isn't just a joke character anymore. He's actively beating the life out of Maui. In fact, it's kind of hilarious that the giant crab is the only villain responsible for causing a beatdown of a hero in a Disney villain song. Jafar doesn't count. If you're using magic to do all the work, that's just cheating. What makes Shiny so impressive is how effortlessly it balances its two sides. It's packed with catchy melodies, over-the-top humor, and endlessly quotable lines that become meme-worthy for a reason. At the same time, it never loses the sense of danger that a great villain song needs. Tamatoa is funny, but he's also a genuine threat, and the song never lets you forget it. The result is one of the most unique villain songs, a number that's hilarious, epic, catchy, and surprisingly menacing all at once. This is one of my top 10 favorite Disney songs, and we're only at number 4! I do it all because I'm evil. If there was a blueprint for the modern Disney villain song, Poor Unfortunate Souls would be it. This song set the standard that countless Disney villain songs have followed ever since. It's catchy, theatrical, dark, and everything I could possibly want from a villain number. The song does a phenomenal job of introducing Ursula and showcasing exactly what makes her such a great antagonist. Pacquiao's performance is legendary, delivering every line with the perfect balance of menace and camp. Ursula is manipulative, charismatic, and larger than life, and Carol makes every second of her screen time unforgettable. One of my favorite aspects of this song is its structure. It begins surprisingly calm and inviting. Ursula is soothing, her tone is reassuring, and for a brief moment you can almost understand why Ariel will listen to her. But as the song progresses, that mask slowly slips away. The music grows bigger, louder, and more threatening until it transforms into a full-blown declaration of Ursula's power. What's especially funny is that Ursula barely even bothers hiding how shady she is. Most villains at least attempt to disguise their true intentions, but Ursula spends half the song openly explaining why her deals are terrible, and somehow still convinces Ariel to sign the contract. More real-life scammers should be this transparent. As great as the entire song is, the second half is where it truly becomes legendary. The music swells, Ursula takes complete control of the scene, and the song explodes into one of Disney's most memorable villainous performances. It's a masterclass in character, storytelling, and musical escalation. Just a phenomenal song. And of course, body language! I do it all because I'm evil. Obviously, Be Prepared is a perfect song. It's one of the most iconic Disney villain songs ever written, and at this point, its reputation practically speaks for itself. You probably don't need me to explain why it's a masterpiece, but I'm going to anyway. Everything about this song is villainous perfection. The instrumental track is dark, ominous, and commanding, creating a sense of dread from the very first note. Every line lands exactly where it needs to, steadily building Scar's vision of a new regime while showcasing just how manipulative and calculating he really is. Visually, this sequence is just as impressive. The eerie green lighting gives the song a grim, almost sickly atmosphere, while the fiery red image in the climax transforms the scene into something that feels straight out of a nightmare. Even decades later, the visuals remain some of the most striking Disney has ever produced. And then there's Scar himself. Jeremy Irons delivers a phenomenal performance, oozing sarcasm, intelligence, and barely concealed contempt with every line. For years, I genuinely thought Irons sang the entire song himself, until someone pointed out that he was speaking instead of singing. One thing I especially appreciate is how important the song is to the story. Many villain songs are declarations of intent, but Be Prepared is different. Scar isn't just singing about what he wants to do, he's laying out a plan that he actually succeeds in carrying out. By the end of the next major sequence, everything he promised during the song has come to pass. That gives the number a weight and significance that few villain songs can match. At the end of the day, there's not much left to say. The music is incredible, the visuals are unforgettable, the performance is legendary, and the storytelling is flawless. It's peak Disney villainy. Also, the song says that hyenas are Nazis. I do it all because I'm evil. Let's be honest. If you spent any amount of time on the internet, this choice probably isn't a surprise. Hellfire has become the definitive answer for the greatest Disney villain song. Simply put, I don't think Disney has ever created another song that matches Hellfire in terms of sheer power, storytelling, animation, and emotional intensity. Decades later, it remains one of the boldest things the studio has ever put into an animated film. What makes the song so remarkable is how completely unafraid it is. This is a Disney movie, yet the song tackles themes of lust, obsession, prejudice, hypocrisy, and eternal damnation with an honesty that most family films wouldn't dare attempt. Rather than simplifying these ideas, Hellfire throws the audience directly into the mind of Judge Frollo and forces us to confront the darkness of his worldview. Part of what makes the sequence work so well is its contrast with the song that comes immediately before it. You know, the one everyone calls it the song before Hellfire because, let's face it, Hellfire completely dominates the conversation. That contrast is essential. The previous song is hopeful and uplifting, making Frollo's descent into obsession feel even more jarring and disturbing when the music shifts. The visuals are equally extraordinary. The towering flames, hooded figures, and haunting imagery create a nightmarish atmosphere that perfectly reflects Frollo's state of mind. Throughout the song, he presents himself as a righteous and virtuous man, yet every lyric exposes the truth. He's confessing his own sins while simultaneously blaming everyone but himself for them. The sequence gives us a chilling glimpse into his delusions and self-righteous hypocrisy, making him Disney's most complex and frightening villain. Is this the most predictable number one choice possible? Probably. But I'm not going to pretend otherwise just to be different. Sometimes the popular opinion is popular for a reason. Hellfire deserves every bit of praise it receives. It's not just my favorite Disney villain song, it's my favorite Disney song, period. In fact, it's my favorite villain song in any medium. I've heard countless great songs over the years, but very few have matched the maturity, intensity, and raw dramatic power that Hellfire brings to the table. And for all those reasons, Hellfire is my number one Disney villain song. As always, stay tuned.